Good morning and welcome to Nature Watch. Nature Watch is sponsored by Waddell's Nursery, Floral Garden, and Bird Center at the corner of 12th Street and Millam Road. And now, your host of Nature Watch, it's Gary Miller. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How is you?
Good.
Ditto. Not complaining.
Got to blow in pretty good this morning. The wind's out there.
Did you follow the tailwind? Yeah, there.
Yeah, tailwind pushing me in a little bit. It's died down some from what it was earlier. So,
yeah.
But it's going to come back. We're going to have some pretty good gusts today.
Yeah, up to 50 miles an hour.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we're lucky we're not getting some of that white stuff coming down.
Shut up.
Out along the Minnesota-Wisconsin border, they actually have blizzard warnings out right now because they are getting some snow.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot, maybe 2 to 4 inches. Though some there's a couple little local spots that said maybe up to a foot. But they're getting 50-mile-an-hour plus wind gusts.
Oh,
so they have blizzard warnings out because they have whiteout conditions.
Yeah, 35 miles an hour or more for a 3-hour stretch. That qualifies as a blizzard right there. Great week of weather. If you love sunshine and you love warmer temperatures, this was your week.
Oh, fantastic.
Here is the problem. It was dry.
Yes.
And this has been an ongoing thing. It's like cut, copy, paste, it seems, with us every week here.
The drought monitor didn't change at all since last week. In fact, it might have gotten a little drier.
Yeah.
It's just not much change. We need more moisture. Even though it seems moist and wet on top of the soil surface in those first few inches, we get down below, it's dry. So like I mentioned, I actually had a friend of mine mentioned, I saw him here a little over a week ago, and I had mentioned about looking at white pine trees and seeing how dry they were. He had planted some trees last year, and he said, oh, my goodness, they were wilted.
Oh, my.
So he gave him some nice, good drink of water. So if you've got those plants that you planted in the last year plus, 2 or 3 years even, they don't have their root system fully developed yet, give them a little drink of water because the ground isn't frozen, and we got a little bit of rain last night, but we need more moisture. So if we don't get that inch or more rain in a week, you need to give them some water because they are thirsty.
Absolutely. Well, there are 2 ways you can join us here on Nature Watch. You can give us a call if you have a question for Gary about anything concerning nature, weather, animals, birds, plants.
Insects.
Yeah. Astrology, astronomy.
Astronomy.
He can do it. Well, he can get astrological on you too.
So this is the last Saturday of winter.
Yeah.
Astronomical winter.
269-382-4280. I got to tell them how to get a hold of us.
Sorry.
Or you can text us to 80373, and I'll read Gary the question right there. Okay, continue, sir.
Sorry about that, Jim.
Oh, you're fine.
So last day of winter, 2024, 2025, and 5 more days will be springtime, so not quite 5 full days now. On the 20th at 5:01 a.m., Eastern Daylight Time, that's when spring officially arrives.
Yeah, the sunrises have changed dramatically over
and
this last week.
And the sun sets.
Yeah, that too. This is the time of year where it just floors it. Yes.
It seems odd having it light out so late at night. And of course, with the sunshine too helps tremendously. When we've got cloudy days, overcast, it gets dark earlier. But by having those clear skies, and the skies were fantastic. They cooperated for the lunar eclipse.
Yeah.
So did you lose some sleep watching that?
No, I slept through it.
It was worth losing a little bit of sleep. I did lose some sleep. I paid for it.
We have a guy here that does a morning show, and he filled us in on it because he's up at that time anyway.
It was worth losing some sleep on. I didn't stay up for the whole time of the totality, and it wasn't quite total. There was a little bit of light right at the top of the moon. It was really close to being total though, so it was still worthwhile. It had that blood red color.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Lots of pictures on social media.
Sky cooperated. It was totally clear out. Fantastic, and obviously nice this time of year being outside. And it wasn't too cold. It was you needed a jacket.
Yeah.
But no insects. You have to worry about mosquitoes buzzing around. So it's a great time to be out and look at the night skies if it's clear. And it was actually cool because of the hour plus that I was out watching it, I saw 3 meteors. Actually, it was fantastic. So it was like this is like an astronomical event night. So
free show.
Yes, it was. It was well worth it.
Yeah, there you go.
So actually, we're starting to see birds around, more birds. So we're starting to see a lot of those sandhill cranes coming north. And I saw somebody posted out in Nebraska. So Nebraska gets a huge sandhill crane migration that comes through along the Platte River, about mid-state in Nebraska. and actually had a picture they took with a drone of all the sandhill cranes standing on sandbars in the Platte River, and there were more cranes than there were sandbars. They were out beyond the sandbars.
Whoa!
Yeah. So actually, I was looking the sandhill cranes there. They actually the photographer was Kearney Photography. Actually, they had some neat photos. They had a couple other photos of that. The Crane Trust, which is actually based out there between Kearney and Grand Island, Nebraska, actually monitors sandhill cranes and other cranes. They estimated there was about 15,000 that overwintered in Nebraska this year, which is a little bit from normal. We usually have some overwinter here. They're estimating that the population that's going to migrate through is pushing around 583,000 birds. Think of all those sandhill cranes. Wow. Think of the noise. So fantastic. If you've ever heard sandhill cranes, they get a bunch of them. We get cranes coming through Michigan too in migration. So it's some neat events. We get a little bit of a crane fest over near Battle Creek that usually in the fall migration they see, but we'll see a lot of birds coming through now too. So and there's a lot of waterfowl coming through. So we're starting to see a lot of waterfowl. Hummingbirds are moving north slowly. They're up. A lot of them are in Florida and along the Gulf of Mexico coast. Starting to see some sightings up a little more than 2/3 of the way through Alabama and Georgia, so about Atlanta elevation, so they're starting to come far north. Just a few sightings up that way, but along the waters of the Gulf Coast, all sorts of sightings. So.
Yeah, we could do this weekly now until they get here. Do our weekly hummingbird update. I'll get a sounder together. Your hummingbird update. No. You know what we do every week as well? We give away a prize.
Oh, we do, don't we?
Yeah. Were you going to forget this?
No, I was not.
Okay.
So actually, I have some good clues for this if somebody doesn't get this right away because we'll get to the clues if we need them. So my question today is actually fun.
Well, and let me sell the prize for you. We may have a new listener or two, maybe. At least the ones I paid off last night.
Yeah, hopefully get some new listeners.
269-382-4280. Gary will ask a trivia question. First correct caller with the correct answer will win a $20 gift card to Waddell's Nursery, Floral Garden, and Bird Center at the corner of 12th Street and Millam Road. I would suggest getting near Google at the moment or some other search engine.
If you were up and saw some news this morning, you might see what the answer to this trivia question is.
Okay, well, bring it to us.
So we'll see. So on Thursday this last week, the Michigan DNR issued a press release that confirmed the existence of the young of a particular species in the wild, the first such confirmation in more than 100 years here in Michigan. What is the species?
I know the answer.
Jim watched the news this morning.
No, I knew it yesterday.
Oh, yeah. So it's so very unique. First confirmation of young in the wild here in Michigan in more than 100 years. It was in the Upper Peninsula. And so really unique. I think probably somebody will get this fairly rapidly.
I think Gary may have pitched a softball. Good morning, WKZO.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Who is this?
This is Jay.
Jay, did he give us a softball to hit?
I think so. If I'm right, a cougar.
That is correct. Well, actually, I had everything all prepped for the show today, and I was watching the Channel 8 news this morning, and they had the story about it. I'm like, oh man.
How about that? Yeah. And in the words of Keith Olbermann, he hit the ball real hard.
Yeah. Home run.
There you go. All right, Jay, I do have a $20 gift card for you. Can you hold on the line? I need to get some pertinent information from you. Excellent.
Yes.
Hold on, sir. We'll take care of that in just a moment while we take care of this on Nature Watch on WKZO.
Waddell's Nursery Florist and Garden Center presents its 30th annual Spring Flower and Garden Show next weekend, March 21st and 22nd. Check out the fully landscaped and decorated greenhouses in honor of Waddell's 79th year serving the Kalamazoo community. Wander through the store and see all the gorgeous sights, and be sure to sign up for the professionally led seminars and get a head start on this year's gardening and landscaping. There are 23 classes to choose from. Attend one for $6, two for $10, $10 or attend as many as you want throughout the day for just $15. Classes fill up quickly, so go to Weddells.com or call the store to sign up. You'll also find some of the best pricing of the season on many of your landscape improvement needs, including grass seed, bird feed, garden seeds, organic fertilizers, mold repellent, and more. It's the Spring Flower and Garden Show, March 21st and 22nd at Weddells Nursery Florist and Garden Center on Texas Drive at the corner of Millam and 12th Street.
You're just moments away from another local news update.
So I can stay informed
and prepared for anything going on.
On 590 and 106.9 FM, WKZO.
843.57 in Kalamazoo. Jay in Portage, our big winner, as he hit the ball really hard and got a $20 gift card to Weddells. Nature Watch continues. I'm Jim. He's Gary.
How do you like that for a lob?
That was like, oh, I know this. Come on.
It was something unique. It's fun to talk about, though, because it's very unique.
Yeah.
They actually had photo confirmation. March 6th, they saw two of the cubs up in Ontonagon County in the western upper peninsula. And they did not see the mother, which is unusual because typically cougar cubs actually stay with their mother for about the first 2 years. What's unusual about this is even all the cougar sightings we've had in Michigan, so far, they've all been male. And so they are really, this is actually a surprise because more than 100 years since they've seen cougar cubs here in Michigan that were out in the wild. And but they haven't seen them since March 6th. So they said the biologists from the DNR said Mother Nature can be cruel sometimes, so they're not sure if they're in hiding again or something happened with them.
Okay, yeah. And no, there was no mom, no nothing. Huh?
They didn't see any mom, and they thought that was very unusual. That typically the cubs are mom's real nearby and very protective.
Well, I hope things work out.
So actually, it was actually sort of exciting getting maybe some of those bigger predators back in the area. I know people with pets are always concerned about that, but it helps balance out so we don't have those big fluctuations in deer and rabbit populations that cause a lot of damage, along with other critters. If you have that balance, it tends to balance everything out. You don't have those big swings and damage. So interesting to see. So actually, the birds coming through, I saw a couple turkey vultures this last week. I saw a few of them circling, trying to catch a thermal on the windy conditions this morning on the way in. Had to brake for a deer crossing the road.
Okay, remember on this show we don't worship robins; we worship turkey vultures.
That's right. So so that's a good sign. Jim Johnson, when he was at the Kellogg Bird Sanctuary, always said watch for vultures in the spring because they don't have any feathers on their head. They don't like their heads getting cold, and they come north when it stays warm. And so seeing turkey vultures, multiples, and I know they've been sighted here and there over the winter. In southwestern Michigan, just a few here and there, and I think they probably had some little warm homes that they found that they were sticking around. But seeing a lot of them now coming through, definitely a sign that it's going to stay warmer. Now, once in a while they get caught for a day or two, but that's it'd be nice. So with the weather, we've got really warm. We almost summer-like today, a little breezy. Well, actually, yesterday was too.
It was nice out.
But 36 hours from now, it's going to be winter-like because we're going to have some of that white S word coming down, the four-letter one.
I'm leaving. Have a good day, guys.
But it's next week's temperatures are like a yo-yo, so it drops and then it goes up again. Next weekend's not as warm as this weekend, but we're gradually creeping up, so it's going to be nice to. Thought it was sort of ironic that I think Thursday is about the coldest day this next week, and it happens to be the first day of spring.
Mm-hmm. you know it's warming up when I walk into the building this morning, and I set everything down in the WKZO studio, and then I walk back into our former master control, and I turn the air on. It's hot.
Well, you got all this equipment that keeps everything warm in here, so you definitely have to keep it cool. It was nice not wearing a jacket this morning.
That 2 days in a row.
Yeah, so it's very, very nice.
Well, okay, yesterday morning it was 40. Yeah, that was jacket weather. But
yeah, in the morning sometimes. But this morning was warm enough. I actually threw a jacket in just in case, but it got real windy, and I thought maybe I might be a little cool with the wind, but not bad. The last Saturday I saw a bald eagle. It was actually pretty unique. I was at a funeral for an aunt, and it was sort of ironic. I guess sort of a sign. I thought it was pretty neat. My aunt was quite a crocheter, and she had actually crocheted these fantastic bedspreads for each of her kids. And bedspread was very detailed crocheting, had a large eagle on it, all white or off-white and color. But the large eagle had the clutch of arrows and the grain in its talons. And we were outside waiting outside the funeral home after the funeral, and this bald eagle was circling around. So I thought it was sort of a neat sign.
Oh, cool.
So we're actually starting to see a lot of that. The Great Backyard Bird Count results are out. They're still updating some of the late reports, but actually, biggest one they've had, they had 8,078 bird species that were identified, 217 countries or eBird, which is one of the reporting tools, subregions. There were an estimated 838,000 plus participants around the world, and they had almost 190,000 photos, videos, and sounds that were uploaded to the Macaulay Library, which is part of the All About Birds and the Cornell Ornithology Lab program, which is what Merlin is put out by. And so you see a lot of those photos in that. Fantastic. They're going to be updating that. Be a few little changes in that as far as numbers, but the most sighted bird in the lower 48 here was the northern cardinal.
Ooh. Okay.
Which makes sense because
Cubs
actually
fan.
you get that red bird, it's easy to see. So, it makes sort of sense that was one of the most commonly seen. But chickadees were in there, juncos. So it made it interesting here with the birds. Got a couple other. Today's actually Buzzards Day. I talked about that last week. So the turkey vultures in Cleveland. They're a little bit farther south than we are. But there's actually some neat birding hot spots. So if you check out Audubon, they actually have a couple neat articles about some of the birding hot spots here in Michigan, and we get a lot of those raptors coming through that are flying further north. So if you have a chance, Point Pelee over in Ontario is fantastic. Anywhere along that southern end of Detroit River, you get a lot of birds. If you have a chance to get in the Upper Peninsula, Whitefish Point, fantastic spot for the little later on here. They actually will be going over the Lake Superior to Canada. So a lot of neat places to see that bird migration. Any of the areas around the natural areas that have a lot of wetlands and that, you're going to see a lot of waterfowl in there now. Now's a great time, especially in these nice days, to get out before the mosquitoes and that come out and bug you.
Now that someone's claiming that a mosquito was already sighted.
It wouldn't surprise me. Last year I saw a mosquito in February here, so I have not seen any yet, but it wouldn't surprise me because the temperatures have been warm enough for some of those early ones to come out. This next weekend, we've got International Day of Forests on Friday, and Saturday is World Water Day. So both days that were sort of sponsored by the United Nations and trying to bring recognition and people be aware of forests and the importance of those, and then also protecting fresh water. Some neat events we have coming up. This weekend, actually, is the first weekend of the Michigan Maple Syrup Association, Michigan Maple Weekend. And so check out their website today and tomorrow. Those sugar shacks that are open and they're part of that association, they have a little open house. I know Butternut Creek, that's just into St. Joe County from Kalamazoo County, so between Mendon and Vicksburg. They have a neat little open house today, and they are doing that from 10 to 4. They have a free breakfast. They ask for donations if you want, but just free to get the sample, some maple syrup and other products, and get a little tour of their facilities. They have some fantastic products. If you can't make it out there and pick it up there, Waddell's is carrying their products, at least some of their syrups and that. So neat family run operation. The next weekend, the 21st and 22nd, is Waddell's 30th annual garden show. Their spring garden show with all the fantastic displays in the greenhouse, all sorts of seminars, and come out and see that. It'll be fantastic to get a nice touch of spring with some flowers blooming and plants and leaf, and actually sort of kick off that season, because we're just getting into, plants will be coming in soon, but we're still in winter, so it'll be 3-4 weeks before plants will be available to actually start planting. The temperatures have been warm enough, though, especially after this next week, that I think you're going to be safe to start cleaning up some of those flower beds because we're going to be above 45, 50 degrees for a week plus.
Okay.
Watch when you start seeing a lot of insects flying around, then you're going to be safe to clean. If you don't see insects yet, wait a little bit. We want to make sure those beneficials have a chance to come out of their winter hibernation. Some other neat events coming up. Look at my list here. Tomorrow, the Audubon Society Kalamazoo is actually doing a field trip, the American Woodcock Prowl, and that's tomorrow evening, 7 to 9 p.m. So this time of year, the American woodcock, or also commonly known as the timberdoodle, males start their courtship display flights at dawn and dusk. So they're going to do a short hike at the Calhaven Trail, and they have information on their website. You can also catch a ride at the Oakland Drive I-94 Park and Ride. So check out their website, and might have a chance to go out and see that. The Kalamazoo Area Wild Ones have a week and a half from now have a meeting coming up, understanding what remains, talking about with the changing with plant communities and that. Jesse Lincoln is a plant ecologist with the Michigan Natural Features Inventory. He's going to be talking primarily about some of those different plant species and communities, primarily in the Gordon State Game Area. So some of the pressures they get from all the development and that going on, what little micro environments are still doing well. Jim didn't mention, but I have my Bob Ross Foundation Run for the Trees shirt on today.
I did not.
Didn't see that probably because of all the equipment.
Yeah.
So Run for the Trees registration is still open. They ask that you get registered by April 1st so they have a chance to send out your materials. That is a virtual 5K. It's a moneymaker for the fundraiser for the DNR, so they get money to plant more trees and plant shrubs, mostly trees. And it's a virtual 5K, so you do it on your own. You have 9 days to do a 5K.
But you have to do the 5K all at once.
No, you can do it partial apart.
Real?
So you can actually do a part,
Oh,
in
no
those 9
way.
days, if you total the 5K, you've got it done.
So do a K a day.
Yeah, you do a K a day, you get more than your 5K.
Okay.
It comes out to. So actually, I was actually figuring it out. So if you do even it out every day, you've got to go a little more than 6 football fields lengths per day to get your 5K for the 9 days.
Okay.
That's pretty easy to do. And so it's a great way. You get a neat, cool T-shirt. You get a little medal and a number for your entry for your virtual 5K. Little window sticker.
So you could literally, if you normally take walks through your neighborhood, use that.
Well, you could easily get that. Yeah. I get it working at Waddell's because usually it's in April when they do this. It
It's
coincides
busy
with
season.
Arbor Day and Earth Day. And I get more than my 5K in 9 days. Easy. I get 5K in a day most times. So it's very easy to do. The Kellogg Bird Sanctuary has a field ornithology class coming up. And I want to mention this again because their registration deadline is coming up soon. That starts April 2nd. There's 5 lecture days, or it's on Wednesday evenings. And then they have a little field trip in the bird sanctuary at the second part of the class each of those nights. So it's 2.5 hours, 6 to 8:30. They have a couple of field trip dates on Saturdays. And so if you do the whole class in person, there's a certain fee for that. You can do just the lectures. You can do just the lectures via Zoom. And so that gives you a lot less cost. So if you can't make it out to the bird sanctuary, it isn't convenient, you still want to catch most of the lecture form, you can get that via Zoom. Neat way to do it. Actually, some of those Zoom meetings are fun to do. I actually listened into a webinar talking about the spotted lanternfly invasive insect. And one of the neat things I learned is actually their most favorite food are tree of heaven or ailanthus, which is an invasive tree, an invasive species all by itself. But some of their most common foods and probably their favorite foods after the tree of heaven are maple trees and grapevines. So could be very devastating if we start getting spotted lanternfly here in Michigan with all the maple trees. I mentioned that because we got maple syrup weekend coming up, going on now, and the whole wine industry here in Michigan with all the grapevines and that could be very devastating. They also like other fruit trees, but grapevines maple trees are two of their favorites behind the tree of heaven.
We have said this many times on this show. If you see a lanternfly,
and see it, squish it, report it.
Bing.
And so if you want to know what their egg cases or masses look like, check out the DNR website. They have some fantastic photos how to identify those. You might also see some the spongy moth, formerly known as the gypsy moth, egg masses. Again, you want to take care of those and get rid of those so we can get some of those pests not to be so pesty.
Yeah. 7 days away, we have a 9 o'clock show to do.
Yes, you do.
Yes, over the garden fence.
Andy's going to come out of hibernation after his long rest here in the winter.
Yeah.
At least from the radio show.
There'll be a lot to talk about. There's no doubt about that. Gary, thank you so much. We do appreciate you coming in every Saturday morning. If you have a question for Gary during the week and you can't wait till Saturday, what is your email again?
Yeah, so my email is naturewatch@wadells.com. No apostrophe in Wadells, just wadells.com,
Yep.
naturewatch@wadells.com. Email me if you have a question or something you see, something you think it might be worthwhile talking about. I've gotten some suggestions from different listeners. Either they stopped in and said hi to me and made some comment, or I've run into them here or there. Had a few people email some things in. So,
okay.
Get out and enjoy the outdoors. You're getting some warmer weather now. And
yeah. Thank you, Gary. We do appreciate you being here, and thank you for listening to this edition of Nature Watch. Tune in each Saturday at 8:30 for Nature Watch, brought to you by Waddell's Nursery, Floral, Garden, and Bird Center at the corner of 12th Street and Millam Road, right here on 590 and 106.9 FM WKZO.